Good evening. Tonight we have some news. There is a story coming out about Prince Harry and Meghan Markle. They are in trouble with Netflix. Netflix is taking Prince Harry and Meghan Markle to court. The reason is that Prince Harry and Meghan Markle did not do what they said they would do. They were supposed to make some content for Netflix. They did not deliver. This is not a small problem. It is a deal. Netflix is saying that Prince Harry and Meghan Markle owe them a lot of money. We are talking about $100 million. This could be one of the expensive celebrity lawsuits ever. Prince Harry and Meghan Markle are in a lot of trouble with Netflix. Yes, 100 million. This is a big number that gets everyone's attention right away and causes a lot of excitement in Hollywood. Before this story gets even crazier, hit subscribe and stay updated on every shocking twist. When a big company like Netflix says they lost this money, it means something big has gone wrong behind the scenes at Netflix. Netflix is a powerful company, and when Netflix has problems like this, people take notice of Netflix. To figure out how we got here, we need to go to 2020. That is when Harry and Meghan made a decision. They chose to stop doing duties and move to California. At that time, Harry and Meghan said they wanted to be independent, have some privacy, and make their careers. The entertainment industry was very interested in Harry and Meghan. Streaming platforms thought Harry and Meghan would bring in a lot of attention from people around the world. Some people really like Harry and Meghan, and some people do not like them. Either way, people watch Harry and Meghan. In the world of streaming, when people watch something, that means money for the people who made it. Netflix made a big deal with the couple. This deal was very important. It meant the couple could make documentaries, series, films, and things for families that people all around the world could watch. People who know about these things said it was a thing. They said it was exciting and could do a lot of things. The couple and Netflix thought it was an idea and that it would be good for everyone. Netflix and the couple were happy about the deal because it was new and different. The expectations were really high. Netflix was not just letting them try out some things. This was a deal. People said the contract could be worth a lot of money, even close to $100 million, over a few years depending on how well they did and what they made. You do not get that kind of money without a lot of pressure. Netflix wanted Harry and Meghan to make a lot of shows. They wanted projects. They wanted new shows to come out all the time. The idea was simple. Harry and Meghan would make content for Netflix all the time, not just use their names for a few shows. Netflix expected Harry and Meghan to be people who made content that people wanted to watch, not famous people who showed up sometimes. Entire teams were working to come up with ideas, make a plan for what to do and when, and get the productions moving. The idea of the project sounded really good when you looked at it on paper. Entire teams and the entire project seemed like it was going to be a success, for sure. Entire teams were doing a lot of work to make the entire project happen. At first, people were really excited about the announcement. The news was over the place and people were talking about it. A lot of people thought this was a beginning for Netflix. The people in charge of Netflix were saying things like they were going to make some shows and bring new ideas to the table. It seemed like Netflix was going to be the place for new and exciting things. The thing is, just because something sounds good does not mean it will actually happen. Netflix executives have to make these shows and put them on the internet for people to watch. That is how they will know if they are successful. It is not about what they say in interviews or at meetings. It is about the Netflix shows that people can watch at home. Netflix shows are what matter most. If the content does not arrive, then the relationship between people starts to fall. The relationship starts to crack when the content does not show up. Over time, people who know what is going on said that things started to go. The projects did not move fast as people thought they would. The work on these projects slowed down. It took longer to finish them than expected. Some things that sounded good in meetings did not actually happen on screen. At first, Netflix was okay with waiting. Everybody knows that big projects take a time. When you are spending millions of dollars, you can only wait for so long. Behind the scenes, Netflix started to worry about the projects. What started as feeling good about the projects slowly turned into concern about the Netflix projects. The people at Netflix were concerned about the Netflix projects. When you make an agreement like this, you have to do what you said you would do. This is because of the contract. You do what you promised, or you tell people why you did not do it. When lawyers get involved, the problem is not about being creative, it is about the law. Now people are talking about a lawsuit that wants a lot of money, and that partnership that seemed like a good idea does not look so good anymore. It looks like a warning to others. The partnership that was supposed to be a success now looks like a big mistake. Tonight we are just getting started, because what Netflix claims happened next is where things really begin to unravel with Netflix. Tonight is when Netflix will show us what really happened, and that is where the story of Netflix will start to fall. After the deal was signed, Netflix had a good idea of what they were looking for. They did not want to work together one time. Netflix wanted to make a lot of content with this deal. They planned to make documentaries, scripted series, and maybe even movies. They also wanted to make shows for families and kids. The main idea was to make content every year. This would make the investment worth it. Keep people watching Netflix. When it comes to streaming, making content all the time is very important. Netflix needed to keep making things to keep people interested in their service. One good show is not enough. These platforms need to keep people interested. They need things to watch all the time. That is what Netflix thought they were getting when they paid for something. So Harry and Meghan made some things. They had a documentary series about their personal life, and it got a lot of attention. People watched it. They also did a documentary about the Invictus Games, which about veterans and their amazing stories. Harry and Meghan did other things too. At glance, this seems pretty good. Netflix did not think so. The problem was not that Harry and Meghan did not make anything. The problem was that they did not make things. It seems like Netflix thought Harry and Meghan did not do enough. Let us consider this situation. If you put in a lot of money, tens of millions, you expect to get a lot of productions over 5 years, but you only get a few titles that come out every now, and then the numbers just do not add up. Every project that gets stalled means you have already spent money on it. You have to pay for the people who work on these projects, like the development teams, the producers, the writers, the editors, and the people who plan meetings and get everything for marketing. All of these things cost money whether or not the show actually gets made. When the shows do not come out, the money you spend on them does not just go away. The money you spent becomes a loss. The productions that do not happen are a problem because you have already spent money on them. The development teams for these productions cost money. The producers for these productions cost money. The writers for these productions cost money. The editors for these productions cost money. All of these people and their work on the productions cost money. When the productions do not happen, you lose that money. Big companies do not ignore when they lose money. They look into what happened when they have losses. Companies like these want to know why they have losses. There are problems at Netflix. People who work there are getting worried because things are not happening on time. They come up with ideas. Sometimes these ideas do not move forward. Some projects are having trouble getting started. People have meetings. They make schedules, but sometimes these meetings and schedules do not work out. This kind of thing happens a lot in the entertainment business. The thing that makes this situation different is that Netflix is really big. When you are working on a project, it is okay if things get delayed. When you are working on a big project that is worth a lot of money, delays can cause big problems really fast. Netflix is dealing with a lot of money, tens of millions of dollars, so delays are an issue. People who know what is going on say that big streaming deals usually have rules about when things need to be done and how much people need to be involved. The studios want the people making the shows to be very active and always working on their projects. Netflix probably felt like things were not moving enough. That is when people started to get frustrated. Because when you do not have things to show people for a month, that is not just wasted time. The streaming service is also losing people who watch their shows. They are missing out on chances to make more money. Netflix and other streaming services like Netflix need people to keep making things to keep everyone interested in Netflix. At this point, the excitement people first felt had turned into pressure. The executives began to ask questions. Where are the next projects? What is the timeline for these projects? When will we see the results of the projects? These conversations are usually not easy to have. When money is involved, they become even more uncomfortable. This is where the reality of business really kicks in. Being famous does not mean you can deliver a project. Having star power does not mean you can produce a show. At the end of the day, these platforms need projects that are finished, not ideas or promises. The gap between what people thought would happen and what actually happened has gotten really big. It got so big that Netflix wanted to make sure it did not lose money. The gap got so big that lawyers had to look at the contract. It got so big that people were not just disagreeing about ideas, they were talking about problems. When a company starts thinking about how money it might lose instead of planning what to do next, you know things are not going well. That is what was happening with Netflix according to what people are saying. Lawyers get involved when things are already pretty bad. That is what happened here. Netflix saw that talking about the problems in private was not working. So the company decided to take a step. Instead of waiting to see if things got better, Netflix chose to take action. When you hear that a big company like Netflix is getting ready to file a lawsuit that could cost $100 million, you know they think the situation is very serious. Netflix thinks the situation with Netflix is very bad. Netflix is taking action against Netflix's problems. The problems people are talking about are not issues about Netflix, and some people not seeing eye to eye. Netflix is dealing with issues like broken contracts, missed deadlines, and lost money. To put it simply, Netflix's side of the story is easy to understand. They spent a lot of money because they thought they would get a lot of content. Netflix paid people money upfront, helped pay for project development, and assigned people to work on these projects. From Netflix's point of view, they did not get what they paid for. When Netflix thinks they did not get what they paid for, they go to court. When you talk about entertainment contracts, lawyers who work with these contracts say it usually comes down to one question. What did the entertainment contract actually require? If the entertainment contract said how many projects had to be done or when they had to be finished, then it is pretty simple. The people involved did what they were supposed to do, or they did not. If the words in the entertainment contract were not clear, then both sides can give their own meaning to it. That is why these arguments about entertainment contracts can get confusing quickly. Every single word in an entertainment contract is important. A single sentence can decide millions of dollars. This is because the sentence in question is very important. The importance of the sentence is what makes it so powerful. The sentence is a powerful thing, and it can decide a lot of money, millions of dollars. The number of the lawsuit is really something. It shows how strongly Netflix feels about this. Netflix would not take the risk of a lawsuit if they did not think they had a good chance of winning. By filing a lawsuit that everyone can see, Netflix is sending a message. This message is not just for Harry and Meghan, for the entire industry. The message is that if you take money from Netflix and do not deliver what you promised, Netflix will fight back. Netflix wants to get back the money they lost. They also want to protect their reputation. They want to show everyone what happens when you do not do what you said you would do. No big streaming company like Netflix wants other people making things for them to think they can do a job without getting in trouble. Netflix wants to set an example with Harry and Meghan. Harry and Meghan's legal team will probably have a view of things. They will say that they did a job and made content that people wanted to see. They can say that the projects they made for Netflix got a lot of attention and people watched them. Harry and Meghan's team might say that it took longer than they thought to make the projects or that the plan for making them changed. They may say that Netflix wanted things from them over time. In the movie business, there are always two sides to every story. Sometimes the court has to decide which side is right. Harry and Meghan's team and Netflix will have ideas about what happened. But there is something that matters a lot beyond just the money, what people think of you. When a lawsuit like this becomes public, the news spreads fast. People remember words like breach, failure, and damages. They associate them with your name. Even if the lawsuit is eventually settled, the bad reputation can stay with you for a time. Studios pay close attention to these kinds of situations. The people you might want to work with in the start to ask questions about you. They want to know if you are reliable, if you are consistent, and if you are worth the risk of working with. This kind of doubt can stop you from getting a chance to talk to them. It can close doors before you even get started. This battle is not really about being creative. It is more about who's responsible for what. Netflix thinks they did not get the things they paid for. Harry and Meghan will probably say they did what they were supposed to do. The truth is somewhere in the middle of what Netflix and Harry and Meghan are saying. Now that the lawyers are getting ready for this, one thing is for sure. Netflix and Harry and Meghan are not friends anymore. This is a fight in court. And big court fights like this one usually do not end without a lot of noise. So now we need to think about what happens. The thing is, even though we see headlines and huge numbers cases like this, one do not usually end with a big fight in court. In the movie business, most problems get solved in private. That is probably what both sides really want. Going to trial is a mess. People's emails get shared with everyone. Contracts that were secret become public. Things that people said in private become news headlines. When all the details come out, nobody really comes out on top. Cases like this one are usually about the movie business, so we are talking about the movie business. What happens with the movie business is that people usually try to solve their problems in private. Legal analysts think that the likely thing to happen is that they will come to some kind of settlement. This means the company might have to pay back some of the money they got. They might have to make a deal. They might even have to make more stuff to fulfill the agreement instead of paying money. These kinds of cases usually get solved without anyone making a fuss. No matter what they decide to do, it usually involves giving in a little bit. Because if they take this fight to court and it goes on for years, it will cost both sides a lot of time, a lot of money. It will hurt their reputation. The thing is, even if they do manage to settle everything, the damage is already done. When it comes to the entertainment business, what people think of you is really important. If your name gets linked to things like they did not do what they said they would, or they broke the rules, people are going to remember that. Other movie studios are going to notice this. The people in charge are going to be more careful when they deal with you. Deals that used to be simple now need promises, tougher conditions, or less money. That is how the entertainment industry looks out for itself. Trust is really important. When it gets broken, it takes a long time to fix. The entertainment industry is about trust, and once you lose that, it is hard to get back. This situation also makes us think about what happens to people like Harry and Meghan after they leave the family. When Harry and Meghan left the family, they said they wanted to be independent and make their own decisions about their careers. They wanted to do on their own. Being independent is not easy. There is no family to help them, no system in place to support them, and no guarantee that people will care about what they do. In a place like Hollywood, you only do well if you keep doing work. Being famous might get you noticed at first. You have to keep working hard to stay noticed. Harry and Meghan have to keep producing results if they want to stay famous. Big companies have a time without that. Even the biggest names struggle. They really have a time when they do not have it. The biggest names struggle a lot without that. This story is really interesting because of what it's about. The story is not about one contract for a celebrity. It is about what people think will happen. What actually happens? Celebrity meets business in this story. Companies that pay celebrities do not pay them just to be in the news or to talk to people. Companies pay celebrities for the work they finish. They pay celebrities for television shows that get people to pay for a subscription. If these television shows do not get made, the business people get upset. They do something about it very quickly. For Netflix, this is about making sure they do not lose the money they have invested. For Harry and Meghan, it is about making sure people still think well of them and that they have opportunities in the future. Both Netflix and Harry and Meghan have a lot to lose. This is why the next few months are very important. Talks between them will probably happen in private. The lawyers for Netflix and the lawyers for Harry and Meghan will talk to each other. They will be very careful about what they say. Even though we will not know everything that is going on, Netflix and Harry and Meghan will be making big decisions that will affect their careers for a long time. One thing is for sure, this story is not going to disappear soon. When you put together people, Hollywood, and a lot of money, $100 million, people sit up and take notice. This story is going to have an impact no matter how it ends, whether it is a settlement, a restructuring, or a big fight. In court, it will send a strong message to the whole entertainment industry. The entertainment industry will definitely feel the effects of this story. Because at the end of the day, contracts matter. Delivery matters. And no matter how famous you are, business is still business.